Greetings, program. I want you to think about something for a minute. Picture this. You're driving down the highway in what should be your dream car. Maybe it's that electric BMW i4 you've been eyeing, or that classic Mustang you've always wanted. The engine's purring, the road's clear ahead of you, and you should be flying. But something's wrong. You're barely doing 45 in a 70-mile-per-hour zone. Cars are passing you left and right. You're frustrated, maybe even a little embarrassed. You press harder on the accelerator, but nothing changes. That's when you realize your parking brake is on. Now, what if I told you that 90% of solopreneurs and small business owners are driving their businesses with the parking brake on? What if the biggest thing holding your business back isn't your skill, your work ethic, or your brilliant ideas? What if it's a nearly invisible force that's silently draining your most valuable resources every single day? Your time, your energy, and your sanity. Today, we're not just going to talk about that force. We're going to give it a name, operational drag. And more importantly, I'm going to teach you a simple 3-step method you can use right now, today, to find it and fix it. This is the story of how one solopreneur, just like you, used this exact method to reclaim over 15 hours a week and completely transform not just her business, but how she felt about running it. Stick around, because this is the kind of episode you're going to want to save, share, and probably listen to twice.
Mike's got the hat, the AI kind. Unlocking power in business you'll find. Cut through the hype, explore the tech. Every week, new ideas to check. Allton leads us on a digital quest. AI secrets he'll always invest. Tune in tight, don't miss a beat. Knowledge groove, keep you on your feet. Listen up to the AI flow. Business growth, here we go. Cutting edge insights, that's the plan. With the AI hat, you'll understand.
All right, let's talk about the architect and the technician. And yes, I borrowed this concept from Michael Gerber's E-Myth, but I'm going to take it somewhere he never did. Inside every solopreneur, these two roles are locked in an epic battle. Think of it like having two different operating systems trying to run on the same computer. The technician is the doer. It's the part of you that's an expert at your craft, the consultant, the creator, the coach, the service provider. The technician is what makes you money. The technician is why clients hire you. When you're in technician mode, you're in your zone of genius. But the architect is completely different. The architect designs the systems that make the business run. The architect builds the machine that allows the technician to do their best work without burning out, without dropping balls, without that constant feeling that you're one sick day away from everything falling apart. Here's the thing, and listen closely because this is important. Most of us are incredible technicians. We can solve problems, create solutions, and deliver results that genuinely change our clients' lives. But we're often overworked, overwhelmed, and frankly, terrible architects. And when the architect is neglected, when those systems aren't in place, your business starts to accumulate what I call operational drag. It's like digital plaque building up in the arteries of your business, slowing everything down. This was exactly the situation a member of my AI Solopreneur OS program found herself in just a few weeks ago. We'll call her Sarah, though that's not her real name. She brought her frustrations to one of our live AI Lab coaching calls, and what happened next changed everything. Sarah was a brilliant Facebook ads specialist. She could diagnose ad account problems that stumped other experts. She could turn around struggling campaigns and generate real ROI for her clients. As a technician, she was, and is, world class. But her business architecture, it was held together with digital duct tape and a prayer. Let me paint you a picture of Sarah's reality. And I want you to listen for the emotional signatures here because they're probably going to sound familiar. When Sarah got a notification that a new member had joined her program, her first reaction wasn't joy or excitement. It was dread. That gun-punch feeling of, oh no, now I have to do the dance again. What dance? The clumsy, manual, soul-crushing dance of copying the person's name from a Stripe email, opening a form, typing it in, checking the spreadsheet, checking the CRM, checking the email list, updating 3 different systems that didn't talk to each other, a dozen tiny, frustrating steps that made her feel like she was playing whack-a-mole with her own business. But here's the kicker, and this is where it gets really human. Sarah would see important emails in her inbox, and her brain would just park them. You know what I'm talking about, right? That mental filing cabinet where urgent things go to die. Days later, she'd be hit with that sinking feeling of guilt when she realized she'd ghosted a paying member who just wanted to ask a simple question. The worst part? Sarah knew she was good at what she did. She knew she could help people, but she was spending more time wrestling with her system than actually helping clients. She was burning out, not from the work she loved, but from the operational chaos that surrounded it. Sarah's business had operational drag, and it was killing her slowly. Now, what we did next is what I now call the F.I.X method. It stands for find the friction, identify the root cause, and architect the experiment. Notice I said architect the experiment, not find the perfect solution. That's intentional, and we'll get to why in a minute. But before we dive into the method, I need you to understand something crucial about AI Solopreneur OS. This isn't just a program that teaches you about AI tools, though we absolutely do that. It's a complete operating system for running your business more efficiently. Inside AI SOS, members get access to what we call the Creator's Toolkit, pre-built GPTs, automation templates, a Notion command center that you can literally copy and paste into your business, and step-by-step playbooks for everything from client onboarding to content creation. More importantly, they get access to our live AI labs where we work through real problems with real businesses in real time. That's where Sarah's transformation happened, and that's where we're going to take you next. Now, this isn't an intellectual exercise because step 1 of the F.I.X method is F. Find the friction. This is a visceral, gut-level audit of your daily experience. I want you to feel it as I'm talking. Here's what I need you to do right now. Close your eyes if you're not driving. Take a deep breath and do what I call a friction audit of your last workday. Where are the moments of frustration? Where do you feel that heavy sigh before you even start a task? What notification makes your shoulders tense up? What part of your business feels like you're swimming upstream? That gut feeling, that physical reaction is not weakness. It's intelligence. It's your business sending up a flare, lighting up the dashboard, telling you exactly where the leak is. For Sarah, that friction was palpable. When she got a notification for a new member, her gut reaction wasn't celebration. It was that familiar sigh of dread. That's a powerful signal that we can't ignore. But here's where most people get wrong. They try to power through the friction. They tell themselves to just work harder, be more organized, stop being lazy. But that's like trying to drive faster with the parking brake on. You're not addressing the real problem. Sarah's friction came from a dozen tiny manual steps every time someone joined a program. Copy the name from Stripe, open a form, type it in, check the spreadsheet, check the CRM, check the email list, each step feeling wrong, inefficient, soul-crushing. But there was another friction point that really got to me when Sarah shared it. Her inbox had become this black hole of guilt. She'd see an important email, maybe from a paying member with a question, and her brain would park it mentally. Not ignore it, but file it away for later. Except later never came. And that email would just sit there for days, generating this low-level anxiety and guilt. Think about that for a second. Here's someone who's genuinely good at helping people, who has knowledge that can change businesses, and she's been slowly destroyed by email management. That's operational drag in its purest form. So right now, I want you to ask yourself, What's one task in your business that if you never had to do it again would make your shoulders drop an inch from your ears? That's your starting point. You've found your friction. But here's what most people do wrong. They stop here. They identify what's frustrating them and then either try to muscle through it or complain about it. But identifying the friction is just the beginning. We need to go deeper. Step 2 is identify the root cause. Finding the friction tells you what hurts. Identifying the root cause tells you why it hurts. And here's the thing. Most of the time, the thing that's driving you crazy is just a symptom of a deeper systemic problem. This is where we use one of my favorite diagnostic tools, the 5 Whys technique. It's borrowed from Toyota's manufacturing process, but it works brilliantly for business operations. You just keep asking why until you get to the foundation of the problem. Let me give you an example that I hear all the time. I hate writing social media posts. That's the friction. Why? Because I feel like I'm not a good writer. Why? Because I'm always staring at a blank page with no ideas. Why? Because I don't have any content ideas ready to go. Why? Because I don't have a system for brainstorming, capturing ideas. Why? Because I've never set aside time to build one. Boom. The root cause isn't that you're a bad writer. It's the lack of an ideation and content planning system. You can't fix a problem you don't truly understand. And most people are trying to solve the wrong problem. With Sarah, we dug into that member onboarding friction, the manual dance she had to do every time someone joined, and wasn't really about the individual steps. Though those were painful, the root cause was much deeper. Sarah had built her business organically over time. As she added new tools and systems, she never took the time to make them talk to each other. Her customer data lived in 4 different places: Stripe for payments, MailChimp for email, a Google spreadsheet for tracking, and a separate system for course access. None of them were connected. So every time someone joined, she had to manually update 4 different systems. And when someone canceled, forget about it. She'd manually remove them from 1 or 2 places and then forget about the others. She had paying members who hadn't been added to the email list, canceled members who were still getting course access, and a spreadsheet that looked like it had been maintained by a caffeinated squirrel. The friction was the manual work. The root cause was a fragmented system architecture with no source of truth. Here's another example from my own business. I used to spend 2 hours preparing for every podcast interview. 2 hours for a 45-minute conversation. I was frustrated. I was dreading the prep work, and I was starting to resent my own podcast. The friction was obvious. Podcast prep was taking too long. But when I dug into why, here's what I found. Why does podcast prep take so long? Well, because I have to research each guest extensively. Why do I have to research them extensively? Because I want to ask intelligent questions? Well, why don't I have intelligent questions ready? Because I'm starting from scratch every time. Why am I starting from scratch? Well, because I don't have a systemic research process. Well, why don't I have a systemic process? Because I've never taken the time to build one. The root cause wasn't that I was slow at research. It was the lack of a repeatable system. I was reinventing the wheel every single time instead of building a framework I could reuse and improve. This is where AI becomes incredibly powerful, but not in the way most people think. Most people try to use AI as a band-aid for their symptoms. ChatGPT, write me a social media post. Or ChatGPT, help me research this guest. But when you understand the root cause, you can use AI to build systematic solutions. Instead of asking AI to write one social media post, you write a custom GPT that knows your voice, your audience, and your content themes, and can generate months of content ideas in minutes. Instead of asking AI to research one guest, you build a research assistant that can create comprehensive interview prep materials following your exact process every single time. That's the difference between using AI as a magic wand versus using it as a foundation for better systems. And that brings us to step 3, X, architect the experiment. Again, notice I didn't say architect the perfect solution. Perfection is a trap. And it's probably one of the reasons you're stuck where you're at right now. When we aim for perfection, we get paralyzed. We spend weeks researching the best tool, the perfect workflow, the optimal automation. Meanwhile, our operational drag is still there, still bleeding time and energy from our business every single day. Instead, we're going to think like scientists. We're going to form an hypothesis, build a small experiment to test it, and then iterate based on what we learn. But here's the key, and this is where AI Solopreneur OS becomes invaluable. You need the right tools and frameworks to run effective experiments. You can't just wing it. Inside AI SOS, members have access to what we call the Creator's Arsenal, pre-configured GPTs, automation templates, Notion dashboards, and step-by-step implementations guides. It's like having a fully equipped laboratory where you can test and refine your business systems without starting from scratch every time. Let me show you how this worked for Sarah. Her member management chaos, our hypothesis was simple. If we create a single source of truth in Notion and connect it to her existing tools through Zapier, we can eliminate the manual data entry dance. The experiment wasn't to rebuild her entire business overnight. It was to automate one specific workflow, new member onboarding. And we started small. One Zapier automation that took new Stripe payments and automatically created records in a Notion database. That database became her single source of truth for her member information. From there, we added one automation at a time. Notion to MailChimp for email list management. Notion to her course platform for access control. Each automation was a small experiment that we could test, refine, and improve. Result? What used to take Sarah 15 to 20 minutes of manual work every time someone joined now happens automatically in the background. She gets a clean notification in Slack when someone joins with all their information organized and accessible, and she doesn't have to touch it. But here's the beautiful part, and this is why the experiment approach is so powerful. We didn't try to solve all her problems at once. We started with the biggest pain point and built from there. For her email management problem, we created a different experiment. We built a custom GPT, trained on her membership program, her communication style, and common member questions. Now, when she gets an email from a member, she can paste it into her GPT and get a drafted response in her voice with all the right context in about 30 seconds. For my podcast prep problem, the experiment was building my first custom GPT. My hypothesis was, if I use an AI assistant to streamline my research process, I can cut prep time from 2 hours to 30 minutes or less. The result? My prep time went 2 hours to about 20 minutes. And the quality of my interviews actually improved because I was more prepared, not less. But here's what I want you to understand. These weren't just AI implementations. These were systematic improvements to the architecture of our businesses. We used AI as a tool to build better systems, not as a replacement for thinking. This is the heart of my human framework, which is the philosophical foundation of everything we do in the AI Solopreneur OS. H, harmonize. We align AI with your values and how you actually want to work. You understand. We make sure you know why and how these tools work, not just what they work or that they work. M, map. We create a strategic roadmap for your specific business, not a one-size-fits-all solution. A, adapt. We implement solutions iteratively, testing and improving as we go. And N, nurture. We foster continuous learning and growth because technology keeps evolving. This framework ensures that AI enhances your humanity instead of replacing it. It's about building systems that can make you more efficient so you can focus on the work that only you can do, the creative, strategic, relationship-building work that actually moves your business forward. So let's recap the F.I.X method, because this is actionable gold that you can implement immediately. Find the friction. Pay attention to your emotional and physical reactions. Where do you before starting a task? What notifications make your stomach drop? Your body is telling you exactly where your business is bleeding efficiency. Identify the root cause. Don't stop at the surface frustration. Use the 5 whys technique to dig down to the systemic issue. Most of the time, you're trying to solve the wrong problem. Architect the experiment. Build small, Testable solutions using the right tools and frameworks. Don't aim for perfection, aim for improvement. Test, learn, iterate. By applying this method systematically, Sarah didn't just reclaim 15 hours a week. She transformed her entire relationship with her business. Let me paint you a picture of Sarah's life now. Instead of dreading new member notifications, she actually gets excited when she sees them because she knows her systems will handle everything smoothly. Instead of that constant low-level anxiety about dropped emails, she has confidence that nothing important slips through the cracks. But the real transformation wasn't just operational. It was emotional and strategic. Sarah finally had space to work on her business instead of just in it. She spent an afternoon outlining that new mini course she'd been dreaming about for over a year. She had time to experiment with new AI video tools without feeling guilty about neglecting her existing members. She took a real weekend, a full 48 hours, without checking email, knowing her systems were handling everything in the background. She went from being a stressed out technician, constantly reacting to the next urgent task, to being a calm, confident architect, proactively designing a business that truly serves her vision in her life. That's the power of operational efficiency. It's not just about saving time, though we did that. It's about reclaiming your agency as a business owner. It's about moving from overwhelm to intentionality. And here's what I find fascinating. Sarah's clients started noticing the difference too. When you're not constantly stressed about your internal systems, when you're not dropping balls or feeling scattered, that calm confidence shows up in how you serve your clients. Her business didn't just become more efficient, it became more profitable and more enjoyable. This is what we do inside AI Solopreneur OS. We don't just teach you about AI tools. We absolutely do that. We help you architect a business that works as hard as you do, so you can focus on the work that only you can do. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Mike, this sounds great, but where do I even start? My business feels like it has 100 different friction points. Well, that's exactly why I created something specifically for this episode. Sarah's transformation started with identifying her unique bottlenecks. Your transformation starts with the same process. If you're ready to find your operational drag and begin your own F.I.X process, I've created the perfect first step. It's a free 2-minute assessment. I call it the AI Solopreneur Bottleneck Diagnostic. This isn't just another quiz that gives you generic advice. It's a carefully designed diagnostic tool that identifies your single biggest point of operational friction and gives you a personalized action plan to address it. The quiz analyzes your responses across 5 key areas: content creation, client management, administrative tasks, strategic planning, and system integration. At the end, you'll get a detailed report that tells you exactly where to focus your energy for maximum impact. But here's the really valuable part. The report doesn't just identify your bottleneck. It gives you specific, actionable next steps using AI and automation tools, many of which you can implement today with tools you probably already have. Just go to theaihat.com/diagnostic. That's theaihat.com/diagnostic. Take the quiz, get your personalized report, and then, and this is important, actually implement the first recommendation. Don't just read it and file it away. Take action. Because here's the truth. Knowledge without implementation is just expensive entertainment. The F.I.X method only works if you actually use it. And if you want to go deeper, if you're ready to systematically architect a more efficient business with AI and automation, then AI Solopreneur OS is designed specifically for creators and entrepreneurs just like you. Inside AI SOS, you'll get the complete Creators Toolkit, access to our live AI labs where we solve real problems in real time, step-by-step implementation guides, and a community of business owners who are all working toward the same goal, building businesses that scale without burning out. But start with the diagnostic. Find your friction, identify your root cause, and take that first experimental step toward a more efficient, more intentional way of running your business. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. If the F.I.X method resonated with you, and I hope it did, taking that diagnostic quiz is absolutely the best way to start putting it into practice in your own business. Remember, operational drag isn't a character flaw or a sign that you're not cut out for entrepreneurship. It's a systems problem with systems solutions. And with the right tools and frameworks, you could architect a business that works as hard as you do. Until next time, keep building, keep experimenting, and remember, your efficiency is your superpower. Welcome to the grid. That's a wrap on another episode of the AI Hat Podcast. I hope you gained some valuable insights and actionable strategies to boost your business with AI. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your network. And don't forget to visit theaihat.com for more resources and to connect with me. Until next time, keep innovating, and remember, the future of business is human and it's powered by AI.